Matthew, chapter 22. And Yeshua responded and spoke to them again by parables, and said, The reign of the heavens is like a man, a sovereign, who made a wedding feast for his son, and he sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast. But they would not come. Again he sent out other servants, saying, Say to those who are invited, See, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and fattened cattle are slaughtered, and all is ready. Come to the wedding feast. But they disregarded it and went their way, one to his field, that one to his trade, and the rest, having seized his servants, insulted and killed them. But when the sovereign heard, he was wroth and sent out his soldiers, destroyed the murderers, and set their city on fire. Then he said to his servants, The wedding feast indeed is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Therefore, go into the street corners, and as many as you can find, invite to the wedding feast. And those servants went out into the street corners and gathered all whom they found, both wicked and good. And the wedding hall was filled with guests. And when the sovereign came in to view the guests, he saw there was a man who had not put on his wedding garment, and said to him, Friend, how did you come in here not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the sovereign said to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away, throw him out into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. Then the Pharisees went and plotted how to trap him in his words. They sent to him their taught ones with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know you're true, and teach the way of Elohim in truth, and it does not concern you about anyone, for you are not partial to any man. Then say to us, what do you think? Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But knowing their wickedness, Yeshua said, Why do you try me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin of the tax. And they brought him a denarius. He said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is this? They said to him, Caesar's. And he said to them, Then give to Caesar what's Caesar's, and Elohim what is Elohim's. And having heard, they marveled and left him and went away. On that day, the Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to him and asked him, saying, Teacher, Moshe said that if anyone should die, having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise offspring for his brother. And there were with us 7 brothers, and the first died after he had married, having no children, left his wife to his brother. In the same way, the second also, and the third, all the way until the 7th, and last of all, the woman died too. At the resurrection then, whose wife of the 7 shall she be, for all had her? And Yeshua answering said to them, You go astray, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim. In the resurrection they do not marry, nor are they given in marriage, but are as messengers of Elohim in heaven. And concerning the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was spoken to you by Elohim, saying, I am the Elohim of Abraham, and the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Yaakov. Elohim is not the Elohim of the dead, but of the living. And when the crowds heard, they were astonished at his teaching. But the Pharisees, having heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, were gathered together, and one of them, one learned in the Torah, did question, trying him and saying, "Teacher, which is the greatest command in the Torah?" And Yeshua said to him, "You shall love your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your mind. This is the first and great command. The second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commands hang all the Torah and the prophets." And when the Pharisees were gathered together, Yeshua asked them, saying, "What do you think concerning the Messiah? Whose son is he?" They said to him, "The son of David." He said to them, "Then how does David, in the Spirit, call him Master, saying, 'Yehovah said to my Master, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool of your feet'? If then David calls him Master, how is he his son?" And no one was able to answer him a word. And from that day on, no one was bold enough to ask him any more questions. Mark chapter 12. And he began to speak to them in parables. A man planted a vineyard and put a hedge around it, and dug a vat for the winepress, and built a watchtower, and lent it out to farmers and went away. And at harvest time, he sent a servant to the farmers to receive some of the fruit of the vineyard from the farmers. And they seized him and beat him and sent him away empty-handed. Again he sent them another servant, and throwing stones at him, they wounded him in the head and sent him away, having insulted him. And again he sent another, and they killed him, and many others, beating some and killing some. He had one more son, his beloved. He sent him last of all, saying, "They shall respect my son." But those farmers said among themselves, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance shall be ours." So they took him and killed him and threw him out of the vineyard. When the owner of the vineyard saw it, what then shall he do? He shall come and destroy the farmers and give the vineyard to others. Have you not read this scripture? The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. This was from Yehovah, and it is marvelous in our eyes. And they were seeking to seize him, but feared the crowd, for they knew he had spoken the parable against them. And leaving him, they went away. And they sent to him some of the Pharisees and the Herodians to catch him in a word. And when they came, they said to him, "Teacher, we know you're true. It doesn't concern you about anyone. You're not partial to anyone, but teach the way of Elohim in truth. So, is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? Should we pay? Should we not pay?" And he, knowing their hypocrisy, said to them, "Why do you try me? Bring me a denarius to look at." And they brought it, and he said to them, "Whose likeness and inscription is this?" They said to him, "Caesar's." So Yeshua said to them, "Give to Caesar what's Caesar's, and Elohim what's Elohim's." And they marveled at him. Now the Sadducees, who say there's no resurrection, came to him. And they asked him, "Teacher, Moshe wrote to us, if a brother of anyone dies and leaves his wife behind and leaves no children, his brother should take his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. There were 7 brothers. The first took a wife and died, leaving no offspring. The second took her, he died, leaving no offspring. And a third likewise, and all the way to the 7th left no offspring. Last of all, the woman died too. In the resurrection, when they rise, whose wife shall she be? For 7 had her as wife." And Yeshua answering said to them, "Is this not why you go astray? Because you do not know the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim. For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as messengers in the heavens. And concerning the dead, that they rise. Have you not read in the book of Moshe, at the bush, how Elohim spoke to him, saying, I am the Elohim of Abraham, and the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Yaakov. He is not the Elohim of the dead, but the Elohim of the living. You then go greatly astray. And one of the scribes, coming near, hearing them reason together, knowing that he had answered them well, asked of him, which is the first command of all? And Yeshua answered him, the first of all the commands is, Hear, O Israel, Yehovah, our Elohim, Yehovah is one, and you shall love Yehovah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first command. And the second, like it, is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's no other command greater than these. And the scribe said to him, Well said, teacher, you've spoken the truth. For there is one Elohim, and there is no other beside him. And to love him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, with all the being, and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself, is more than all the ascending offerings and offerings. When Yeshua saw that, he answered wisely. He said to him, You're not far from the reign of Elohim. And after that, no one was bold enough to question him. And Yeshua responding said, while teaching in the set-apart place, How is it that the scribes say that the Messiah is the son of David? David said himself by the set-apart Spirit, Yehovah said to my master, Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool of your feet. David himself calls him master. In what way then is he his son? And the large crowd heard him gladly. And in his teaching he was saying to them, Beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes and like greetings in the marketplaces and like the best seats in the congregations and the best places at feasts, who are devouring widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers. These shall receive greater judgment. And sitting opposite the treasury, he saw how the people put copper into the treasury, and many rich ones put in much. And a poor widow came. She threw into leptons, which amount to a quadrans. And calling near his taught ones, he said to them, Truly, truly I say to you that this poor widow has put in more than all those putting into the treasury. For they all put in out of their excess, but she, out of her poverty, put in all that she had, her entire livelihood.